everyone. This is David from Lit Protocol, and absolutely delighted to be joined by Amelie, the founder of Alexandria. Amelie, thanks for making the time.
Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So, for those who are not familiar with the work that you've been up to over at Alexandria, you want to share a little bit about the history of the project and where you are today?
Yes. So I started Alexandria back in 2022, coming from an author perspective. I was learning all about Web3 and what was happening with decentralized media and got really excited thinking about that solution for ebooks. So what we built was Alexandria is a platform for ebooks and audiobooks that readers can truly own. So, to explain this a little bit, we need to talk about the decentralized media world. Um, when you when you quote unquote own a piece of media on Web 2, it technically belongs to the centralized platform that you've bought it from, right? So like Amazon, you buy an ebook, Amazon is actually the keeper of that ebook. They can change it. They have changed it in the past. So actually, recently, just this year, California implemented a law, and probably a lot of other states are going to follow suit, disallowing people from saying buy when you're technically just renting, which is what you're doing with all Web two media, like movies, books, and music, everything. And so, what we wanted to create was a truly decentralized solution for buying and reading and owning your ebooks and audiobooks. And a really crucial piece of that is encryption because protecting the IP of authors and publishers and protecting their revenue is so important and wasn't something that we were seeing implemented in Web3 overall. And so back in 2022, even, we started using Lit because we saw Lit being the most serious solution we could find that really clearly you guys cared about decentralization and had this clear pathway to it. And it's been amazing to see Lit implement that path so methodically over the years. And we're really excited for this next stage, this like bringing decentralization to fruition. So um, the decentralization is so crucial for ebooks and audiobooks because for someone to truly own their ebook, they have to be able to decrypt it without Alexandria, right? Decrypt it on their own. So that's the vision, and that's what we've been growing our library over the years.
Amazing. Yeah, it's been really cool to partner, and it's a beautiful idea because it only ever compounds. The library only gets bigger. Such is the nature of decentralized public storage.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, as you've been building this out over the years, like what has surprised you, if anything, around how people kind of like engage with this media versus not, that things kind of ebb and flow as it relates to user owned data and sovereign
yeah,
data marketplaces and how much attention they're getting one way or the other.
yeah,
Um, there's definitely a kind of like an industry chasm to cross. So
totally.
for the people out there who are very interested in kind of um, empowerment through sovereign data,
Yeah.
and any kind of key lessons that you think you've stumbled across?
So for one thing, when I came into this, it was from an author perspective and thinking, okay, it would be so great to be able to have to use digital. Digital has not been innovated on in the publishing world in so long. Like Kindle came out in 2008. Since then, the whole user experience of ebooks has barely changed. So we wanted to just make use of all the amazing Web3 tools to as options for authors, but as I started learning more about the publishing industry and ebooks, I came to recognize that this is a much more existential problem about censorship and protection of information and information access. And we've seen that in recent years. Another thing that has really surprised me was that people are really excited to collect digital books, like fans, like people who aren't necessarily early adopters of technology. They just get it when they see, okay, it's a first edition, limited digital edition. That's what we call it. These are ebooks. And this really exciting recent example was we've been working with this author, Joe Conrath, who's a self published author who sold millions of books worldwide in like thriller mystery genre. And he has all these fans who, like I said, they're not early adopters, they're not in the Web3 space. Um, they've been onboarding to Alexandria and buying these books, not really caring about the technology underneath, except to the extent that it's useful to them, that, okay, I get to own this. Um, and they've been getting it, and it's just been so wild to see these fans on board, and that like this is the kind of thing that brings people on to the new technology and that makes them excited is like what is this media that they're excited to own.
Amazing. And so, kind of zooming back a couple of years, let me just say one thing about that. Like, there is something, if you like follow a fan and you buy an NFT, you buy a book, you buy some asset where there's like, okay, cool, I've got the thing that I was initially into.
Yeah.
But then if there's some information or disclosures around like, hey, here's how Alexandria works, uses these decentralized web technologies.
Yep.
When you sit back and think about it, at least for me, there's always that really kind of like nice, very tacit thing where like, wow, this is actually mine.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. And getting
that's
people to understand that it's such an interesting like how when and how do you understand it? Because we can say you get to really own it. And sometimes they just get it if we say you can really own it. Like no matter what happens to Alexandria, it's yours. This is different from with Amazon where they can lock you out of your account. Like if they disappear, it's gone. That's one thing. But we've also played with user experience things like when you are when you're like first decrypting your book to read it, it says like we're fetching your book from the Alexandria book vault. And there's like this kind of understanding of, okay, that's what it means to decrypt my real book. Or like when you have your library, it's your bookshelf. We have this like beautiful way of displaying it on Alexandria, but we've had people understand like this is a bookshelf that is like actually almost like a physical bookshelf where they really do own it. So playing with these different types of the user experience to get them to understand.
pretty amazing. Um, and just kind of like going to the architecture a little bit, can I have a picture of this, but can you take us through what does the workflow look like with Lid integrated?
Yeah. And so this is where it might be more helpful for you to talk to our CTO, Gary, at some point about this. But
I love,
yeah, I can tell you about how it works in broad strokes. So the EPUBs and audiobooks are stored on IPFS. And then we encrypt with lit so that it's token gated where if someone owns the book they can read it, and that's it. It's like so flexible, it works so beautifully, it's been working beautifully since 2022, and we're really excited for with this new phase being able to sponsor our readers decrypting their books, and so we have the new V8 implemented on testnet, and we're really excited to put it on mainnet.
amazing. Cool. Uh, Anything that you want to mention? Like, what's the best way for people to follow and get involved and check out Alexandria? Is there any recent publications that you think are can't miss that you would suggest people read?
Yeah, I mean, we have this bookshop that has just been growing over time and works so seamlessly thanks to our partners like Lit. Where so if you go on our bookshop, alexandriabooks.com/shop, you can see all the different genres we have going. The thrillers are great. He's putting on his new collection called the Jack Daniels collection, which is like his best-selling mystery series. That's coming up soon. But we've got fiction, really cool poetry books. We also have our own in-house publisher, Alexandria Editions, where we do original work with authors. So many fun things on there. There's like a couple of nonfiction books about Web3 and innovation. So yeah, I would love to know what people think when they explore the bookshop.
Well, thank you, Amelie. It's been a real pleasure.